Hello, my name's Jamie Allen. Welcome to Any Card at Any Number. This is my version of this classic effect. It's eluded magicians for a long time to be able to find a clean version of this. I'm not saying this is the absolute definitive answer, but it does give a clean way of doing this effect each and every time with the same outcome. I've been doing this effect for years, and I often use it in my second shows. I work a lot of the time on cruise liners like Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and sometimes in a second show I'll use this effect. And I always get a great reaction from it, and it's more about the presentation of the idea. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it at the end, but the problem with Any Card at Any Number is it's a fantastic effect as far as the magician is concerned, because we know how impossible it is. So in order to sell that on an audience, you've really got to push to them exactly what the odds of it are. Otherwise, this effect is not as impressive as an invisible deck or a brainwave deck, because the odds of doing it are like in the thousands of actually hitting the card at the number, and that's what we're going to talk about later on. But right now, take a look at a couple of little demonstrations of the effect. This is Any Card at Any Number.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 and 31
and 32.
Yep.
Oh my God! How'd you do that?
This is my new trick. I think that this is really good. You're going to enjoy this. Adam, this is going to be real simple. We've got a few choices. We're going to eliminate a few cards in the deck, and also we're going to choose a number that's somewhere in the pack. So what I want you to do, put your hands behind your back, and now put some fingers up on either hand. Okay. Both hands, but different fingers on either hand. Yeah? Okay. And bring your hands out. Now you've got, 2 and 4. So that could be 42 or 24. So which would you like it to be? 24 being in the middle of the deck, 42 being near the end. What would you like? 24. 24. So we've got a card. Hold on to the pack for me. I don't want to touch it. 24. If you could also think of, we've got black and red cards in the deck. So do you want the red cards or the black cards? The red cards. Okay, so that gives us hearts and diamonds. So do you want the hearts or the diamonds? Hearts. Okay. Now, we've got the picture cards and number cards. We're going to need one each. So do you want the picture cards or the number cards?
I'll have the picture cards.
Okay, so you're holding onto the deck. I'm not going to touch it. We've got the picture cards, which is the Jack, Queen and King of Hearts. And you picked number 24. So, do you want the Jack, Queen or King of Hearts?
The Queen.
The Queen of Hearts. So you chose the Queen of Hearts out of 52 cards, and also you picked the number 24. Take the pack out of the case for me. Now, look, there's nothing else in the box. Nothing there. Now, do you want to deal the cards face up onto my hand? We're going to do it so the camera can see, and count them off as they go.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, now so that's 10 cards gone by. We said 24, and the card that you picked was the
Queen of Hearts.
The Queen of Hearts, and you selected number 24. Let's go down again.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
That's 23. So this is the 24th card.
Yes.
You said 24, you picked that at random, and you've selected the Queen of Hearts. If that is the Queen of Hearts, that would be a 1 in thousands possibility that that could hit. Not only the right card, but at the right number. If that's the Queen of Hearts, we've got a miracle. Check it out. Look at that. And there's no more Queen of Hearts in this deck.
Any Card at Any Number uses a setup deck, but not a stack deck. You only know the position of a few cards, and it's a setup that you can achieve very quickly. It's not difficult to do it, and I do it in front of people. If I've done this effect in bars and for friends, it's very simple to do it quite quickly. Let me show you what the setup is. Now, from the top of the deck, 14 cards down, you'll find the Queen of Clubs. So here we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cards, and here is the Queen of Clubs. If we go a further 10 cards into the deck, at the 24th position we'll find the Queen of Hearts. So there's 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. There's the Queen of Hearts. Going to 34th position we'll find the Queen of Spades, that being 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33 and 34. There is the Queen of Spades. And now I think you're probably ahead of me on this, but the 44th card is the one remaining queen, which is the other red queen, the Queen of Diamonds. That's 34. 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, and 44, and then the balance of the deck. Now, it's also important to notice that within the top 14 cards of the deck fall the 2 jokers from the pack. So we'll actually be working with a 54 card deck, and this will become important later on, and I'll tell you the reason why. But that is the order of your pack. It is 14 cards from the top, the Queen of Clubs, 24 cards from the top, the Queen of Hearts, 34 cards from the top, the Queen of Spades, and 44 cards from the top, the Queen of Diamonds. In that exact order: clubs, hearts, spades and diamonds, in the classic chased sequence. If you look at the letters of the word chased, the letter C for clubs appears first, and then the letter H appears second for hearts, and then S for spades appears third in the word chased, and the D at the end of it, diamonds. So that's an easy way to remember the order: clubs, hearts, spades and diamonds. And don't forget that the 2 jokers fall anywhere in the top 14 cards, but not together. About the number and the card selections. So that's the basic setup of the deck, and that's pretty easy to do, and you can achieve that very simply. We're going to have a number selected, and it really does appear to be a fairly random choice of number. And the way we're going to do it, if you watched the demonstration carefully, you would have seen this. I have them put their hands behind their back and come out with some fingers up on either hand. In this instance, 3 and a 4, which I say could be 43 or 34. Basically what you're doing is controlling the numbers that they can pick. I say put some fingers up on both hands, so thereby I eliminate 1 to 10, because they're not going to come out like this. So therefore 1 to 10 in the deck, they're not going to hit. We're going to then be able to hit number 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15, but they never do the 5s. I'll talk about this at the end of the tape though, but they never do the 5s because you ask them to put some fingers up on each hand, and that doesn't equate to 5. Now, I've been doing this trick for years and I've never had somebody put up 5, but I will talk to you about how it's possible to go around all that at the end of the video. There's numerous ways and numerous outs that you can use for this trick, but 99% of the time it won't be a problem. They ask them to put some fingers up on either hand. So let's say that they do it like this: 2 and a 4. You can say that could be 42 or 24, because they can hit numbers 11, 12, 13, 14. This is what we're going to get most of the time. Or 21, 22, 23, 24, or 31, 32, 33, or 34, or 41, 42, 43, and 44. They won't do the 5 again, so you're not going to get into the 50s. But again, there's ways around all of this, and I will talk to you about that at the end. Now, let's suppose, and let's just deal with the top few cards in the deck at this point, because we're going to want to hit the exact number, and I give them an option. So if they bring their hands out and say, like this, that can only be 44. Now, as we know, the 44th card in this deck, in the clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, is the Queen of Diamonds. So we're going to want to force the Queen of Diamonds on them. Now stay with me on this, it can get a little complicated. I'm going to give you numerous examples of how it's done, but let's just deal with the top stack for the moment, the 1 through 14, because that's where our first card. So let's presume that we're going to hit the Queen of Clubs, and I'll come to the force of the Queen of Clubs as soon as we've got through the number section. This is just a little bit in depth, and I want to make sure I give you all the information on it. If they do this for 14, then it's easy, because the 14th card in that deck is the Queen of Clubs, so you're going to instantly know. If they do 13, you're going to leave the deck set up exactly as it is, but you're going to have them deal 13 cards down onto the table like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then you will say, and you dealt 13 cards, and the deck you're holding, turn over the next card, and that will be the Queen of Clubs. Now, if you want to do That's 13. If you're going to do 12 or 11, it's very simple. You remember that I had you put the two jokers in the top of the deck. As soon as they name the number, if they do this, so that would be 11, or more likely this, so you can say that'd be 21, or it would be 12. What would you like it to be? Let's suppose they say 12. You say, take the, do you want to check that pack, you say, and just make sure, because I said I wanted you to choose a number out of 52. You never said that, but that's what you say. I wanted you to choose a number out of 52. So why don't you go through that deck and just make sure there's no jokers in the pack. Don't change the order of the pack, though. And I don't want to look at the order of the deck myself, but so just take out the jokers out of the deck, but leave the deck in the same order. And then you move on to the selection of the card with another volunteer. Very effective. So let's just take the jokers out of the pack so you can see the two of that. So they'll go through, keep an eye on them, make sure they don't actually change the order of the deck. They'll remove the jokers from the pack, and those can go back into the box. So now, if they said 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, there's our queen.
To be 32 or 23?
23.
23.
Actually, no, 32.
Okay, it's your choice.
32.
32. Okay, take the pack of cards. I said out of 52, so we take them out of the box and just make sure there's no jokers in that deck. Okay, I don't want to actually mess with myself. There's nothing else inside the card box there. Those are the only ones there, and it is a full deck of 52 cards now.
Yeah.
So turn the cards face down so you're not influenced by those.
Okay.
If they said 11, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You've dealt 11 cards, turn over the next card in your hand, and there is the Queen of Clubs. And this process is repeated for all the other cards in the deck. So if those jokers were in the top 14 cards again, in this case, if they said 21, then you'd have them remove the jokers. If they say 22, you'd have them remove the jokers, and the card would hit the Queen of Hearts. Because basically, as soon as you hear them say the number, if the number is in the teens, then you're going to force on them the Queen of Clubs. If the number's in the 20s, clubs, hearts, you're going to force the Queen of Hearts, and you'll know this straight away in your mind. Most of the time it tends to be in the 20s. If the number is in the 30s, clubs, hearts, spades, all you've got to do is think in your mind Queen of Spades. If the number is in the 40s, clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, so that you'll know which one to do. Now, I've shown you how to do it with the numbers 1 through 14. I'm now going to just quickly talk about the other numbers. It's very self-explanatory. I'm sure you're ahead of me on this, but I just want to make sure you have the information clear. So if they pick 11, remove the jokers. If they pick 12, remove the jokers. So if they pick 11, you remove the jokers, deal 11 cards, the 12th card will be the Queen. If they pick 12, you remove the jokers, and then you deal and it will hit at the 12th card. If they choose 13, you deal 13 cards, and then the following card is their card. If they choose 14, then you hit the Queen of Clubs dead on. Now the same applies with the 20s. If they pick 21, remove the jokers, deal 21 cards, the following card will be the Queen of Hearts. If they pick 22, you remove the jokers, and the Queen of Hearts will fall at the 22nd position. If they pick 23, then you have them deal 23 cards, and then the following card is the Queen of Hearts. 24 is dead on. The same with 31, remove the jokers, 31 cards, hit the card. 32, remove the jokers, hit the card directly as opposed to the one before. And 33, you deal 33 cards, hit the Queen, the following one. 34, hit the card dead on, and the same with the 40s. I think we've covered that, and that is the number selection. And the great thing with it is that when they bring their hands out, you can have them choose. That's 24. Do you want that to be 42 or 24? 24 is the best one. I would say we wanted a number in the middle of the deck, so if you want to just hit the 24, you can say, well, 24, that's right in the middle of the deck if they do it the right way round. Because obviously, when there's a 4 in the number, if you can get that to be the second one, that's the best outcome for this trick. But I will talk about what happens in the 50s and things at the end of this routine, but that is the number selection for the start of any card at any number. So that's how we deal with the number selection. Now we're going to force the card on them. So let's presume that for the sake of argument, they've picked 2 and 4. So we say that could be 42 or 24. Let's presume that they've said it's 24. So we know that the Queen of Hearts is the 24th card in this deck, so we're going to force the Queen of Hearts on them. Or we're going to do it using the time-old method, the Magician's Choice. Don't underestimate the power of Magician's Choice. I use it all the time. However, A lot of people are wise to it, but I show it to people that know it, and I have never ever been caught on Magician's Choice, and that's because in order to do it, you've got to dedicate yourself 100% to it. You've got to be quick with your responses, and you've got to know where you're going, and you've got to have a couple of outs, because people are very wise to the idea of just saying, okay, pick one. Well, you've picked red, so that leaves me with black. Because when you say that, I think people know that you're steering them, so they mustn't know where it's going. So we're trying to go for the Queen of Hearts. So I'll say to them, which do you find more interesting, pictures or numbers? Now, if I say more interesting, people 9 times out of 10 will go for the pictures, even if I just said choose one, pictures or numbers. But in this case, I say, which do you find more interesting, pictures or numbers? So if they say pictures, I say okay, and then I move on to the next stage to narrow it down.
We've got the picture cards and number cards. We're going to need one each. So do you want the picture cards or the number cards?
I'll have the picture cards.
Okay, so you're holding onto the deck. Okay. So do you want the picture cards or the number cards? You can choose one.
Pictures.
We need one each. Okay, so you're going to have the picture cards.
Okay.
So we've got...
This is why we use court cards, because it's so easy to narrow it down, and you'll see why when we get to the final explanation. So, which do you find more interesting, pictures or numbers? And they'll say pictures. Sometimes I don't even say that though. Honestly, I sometimes don't. I just go, pick one, pictures or numbers. Pictures nearly every single time. So, I say, if they don't say that, by the way, if they say numbers, I'll say, okay, because we have to have one each. But that's my favourite out in the selection. We have to have one each. So I've never used it at pictures, because I've never ever had somebody pick the, I can't remember the last time somebody picked numbers, frankly, because of the way that I word it. But anyway, which do you find more interesting, pictures or numbers? Pictures, good. So we've got the red cards and the black cards. So which would you like, the red or the black? Obviously this choice depends varying on which queen has been forced. If they picked 14, we'd be wanting them to pick the black cards. This tends to be where I'll use the, we need one each. Which do you want, black or red? So they'll say red. Now it's great when it's a red card, because the people tend to go for red anyway.
I want you to think we've got black and red in the deck. So do you want to do the elimination with the black or the red? Which would you like?
With the red.
With the red. Okay, so we're going to eliminate the red, so we've got the black.
Okay.
We've got black and red cards in the deck. So do you want the red cards or the black cards?
The red cards.
Okay, so that gives us hearts and diamonds.
And also, a good way of using Magician's Choice in this is not to do the entire routine on one person as I do in the video, is to do it to a group of people. I want as many people to be involved in the selection of this card as possible, because I don't want you to think that I've set it up with somebody. So rather than just have somebody name a card, let's have you all decide on the card. And therefore, I've taken all the heat off of the force. And I keep reminding them of that you've picked 24. So which do you want? Do you want pictures or numbers? Which do you find more interesting? Pictures, very good, okay. And you picked 24, so you picked the pictures, but we've also got the red cards, the black cards, so somebody say one to me. Which one would you like to use, the red or the black? And I'll just go with the first person I hear that says red, because I'm going for the Queen of Hearts at the 24th position. So, hearts, very good. If somebody says clubs, if I've asked somebody directly, they say, we want the black card, sorry, because I've said black or red. I'm jumping ahead of myself here. If they've said black or red and they say they want the black, I say good, because we need one each, which leaves me with the diamonds and the hearts. And then I'll turn to a lady and say, which is your favourite? Because they'll nearly always go for the hearts. You'd think they'd go for the diamonds, but they don't. They go for the hearts. So, basically, you're narrowing down the selection and you're working quickly to get to the right suit, so you'll end up with the Jack, Queen, King of Hearts. The moment you get to that, it's plain sailing. So in real time, it's like, so you've picked 24 from the deck. You could have picked any. Which do you find more interesting, the picture cards or the number cards? The number cards, okay, because we need one each, so that's going to give me the picture cards. So I've got the Jack, Queen, King of Hearts in clubs, hearts, spades and diamonds. Obviously we have the red and the black cards. Which would you like to have, the red or the black? And that's great, because they already know that I've got the court cards, so therefore if they say black cards, I say that leaves me with the red court cards. If they say red, I say, okay, the red court cards, diamonds or hearts, which one do you want me to have, which would you like? So you see how I use that technique, which would you like to have, which would you like me to have?
You chose, we eliminated the red, so we had the black, so that means we've got clubs and spades. We didn't pick one of those yet.
Yeah.
So which one do you want me to have and you to have? It doesn't matter.
Spades.
You want the spades,
Yeah.
okay. So now we've got the Jack, Queen and King of Spades, okay?
So you see how I use that technique, which would you like to have, which would you like me to have? Diamonds, okay, which leaves me the hearts. You picked for me, and I keep reminding them the things they have picked for me, otherwise I steer away from that. So you picked for me you pick for me the picture cards. You've picked for me the hearts. So we've got 3 cards. I've got the Jack, Queen, King of Hearts. Which 2 would we name? Well, I want to name 2 of the cards. This is why I do it with 2, not 1, because if they select them one at a time, I'll show you the difference in a minute. But now I've asked them to choose 2. So they can either choose Jack and King, which is great, because they say Jack and King, which leaves me with the 1 card you've left for me. So rather than in the standard Magician's Choice where you say, okay, you pick that, that leaves me, I've given logic to leaving it to me, because at some point I've said we need 1 each. And it's amazing how later on they'll completely forget that they ever picked a card. We were choosing 1 for me from my deck. We need 1 each. So that is the way of getting it down. So remember, we've had them pick 2 cards, Jack, Queen, King of Hearts. We've got it down to that. So if they say Jack and King, brilliant, because that leaves me with the Queen. Great. Out of 52 cards, you picked 24, you chose the picture cards for me, you chose the hearts for me, you chose the Queen of Hearts for me. I remind them of everything they've chosen for me, I steer it. Now, if they say Jack and Queen, or King and Queen, which is more likely going to happen, I say out of 52 cards, we have arrived at only 2 cards. The King of Hearts, let's say it was, and the Queen of Hearts. This is the most important choice. Which one do you want? And I direct that at somebody, and if they say the Queen, great. We go for the Queen in the deck. If they say the King, I say throughout this entire experiment, you've chosen for me the picture cards. You chose for me the hearts. You chose for me the Queen of Hearts. So I am holding the Queen of Hearts, but you chose number 24. I then have them uncase the deck, which has been in view the whole time, and deal down. And at this point, I say, do you have any idea what the odds would be of having the 24th card? I know that in standard magic you wouldn't normally say what's going to happen, but at this point you do, because it can only make the effect stronger. If you deal down to the card and just turn it over, the reaction, you'd be surprised at how mediocre it is for such an apparent miracle. You've got to sell them on how difficult this is. Do you know what the chances are of not only finding your card, but hitting it at that number? Does anybody here play cards? You know the odds of getting a royal flush are just ridiculous, but even higher would be to choose a number in a deck. Hit it. It's in the thousands, the chances of doing it. So have them deal down and hit the card. Obviously, depending on the number selection, as I went through earlier, whether we've had the jokers removed prior, so that because they've picked 11 or 12, or 21 or 22, or 31 or 32, or 41 or 42, then we've steered it and had somebody remove the jokers while the selection is going on, whilst keeping one eye on the person taking the jokers out. Don't change the order of the deck. Leave the pack in full view. And big bold statements like, I have never touched this deck of cards, it's been in view the whole time, I couldn't have possibly interfered with it, I couldn't possibly have known what number you were going to say, you chose a number. I also pretend to forget the number a lot. Of course I know it, but I will say at the end, once the card has been selected, I'll say, what was the number you said again? Because that way, the more I distance myself from it, the more it seems like the number has nothing to do with it. It could have been any number, because I just go, what was the number that you said again? And they'll say 24, 34. Great, deal down to the 34th card, deal the cards face up as you go. Now, if you want to know more about the Magician's Choice, and if you can get it, I strongly recommend David Berglas's recent book. It is so difficult to get hold of a copy. If you can, really get it, because it's a classic, and his handling of Magician's Choice, and I think they published that in an article in Magic magazine a few months back as well, the handling of Magician's Choice. In fact, I'm sure of it. When they did a review of the book, I think they published that section, and it's sensational. It's absolutely sensational, the way that he handles Magician's Choice, the way he steers it, and his work on it is second to none. And also, obviously, he's very famous for the Berglas effect, any card at any number. However, his method, and I'm not going to go into the workings of that at all here, because that wouldn't be correct, but I found it, as an experienced magician, very difficult to do it. And although I messed around with his method a long time ago, trying to work out, you know, to do it for people at parties and things, it's fine in that environment, but to do it on stage as I was doing it, how I put myself at that risk. I admire anybody that can, but I want to be sure and concentrate 100% on my presentation. Anyway, that is the workings on the magician's choice of how to force the card. So let's just go through one more quickly. Let's say that they've picked 32. They've done a 2 and a 3. That's great. Do you want that to be 23 or 32? We want that to be 32. Good. There's the pack.